Yo, what's going on everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula. I hope you're having a good day and welcome to today's Pokemon Go video. So today I'm going to be talking about biomes. In my opinion, this is probably the best update we've had in Pokemon Go in a very long time. I know a lot of players may disagree with me, but personally I feel like Niantic knocked it out of the park this time around. So for this video, I'm going to be talking about how you could best utilize biomes to get the best gameplay experience in Pokemon Go. First, let's talk about what biomes are. Biomes are different habitats within Pokemon Go that house various Pokemon that are specific to that habitat. For example, if you go to a grassy area, typically you would find grass-type Pokemon. And if you go to a more urban area, you might find a lot of normal-type Pokemon that are a lot more common, like Rattata and Pidgey. So now let's talk about what the various biomes are. There's the city biome, the lake biome, the ocean biome, the forest biome, the mountain biome, the grassland biome, the river biome, and the park biome. Now, each of these biomes have different Pokemon spawns, but most of them do overlap quite extensively. The grassland biome does have a lot of Pokemon that you would typically find in the park biome, and the lake biome and the river biome share a lot of the same spawns. However, out of all of these, I would say that the city biome and the ocean biome have some of the most unique spawns, with one of them having an exclusive Pokemon. So now that we know what the various biomes are, how can you utilize them to your advantage? Well, first and foremost, there are certain biomes that will have certain Pokemon that are going to be advantageous to specific areas of the game. For example, if you're trying to level up your player character, you should head over to a city biome because Pidgey, Caterpie, and Rattata are very common spawns. And in case you didn't know, these spawns are some of the best Pokemon to use for mass evolving with a lucky egg. If you're looking to get candies for starter Pokemon, then head over to a forest biome because that's where starter Pokemon are going to be abundant. If you get yourself familiarized with all the different biomes and what kind of Pokemon spawn within them, you're going to know what kind of Pokemon you could farm in each of the different biomes. Now, sprinkled within each of these biomes, you're of course going to get a lot of various spawns that are going to be considered rare or uncommon. These are of course Pokemon like the pseudo-legendary Pokemon, as well as Pokemon like Porygon. It's really going to vary. Like, if you want specific spawns, then yes, you could utilize these biomes to your advantage, but if you want rare Pokemon, it's basically going to be the same as it was before. You're just going to need to go out and explore, but certain biomes may feature certain rare Pokemon more than others. I found that if you want Pokemon like Dratini, you need to go out to a lake or a beach biome, but if you want a Pokemon like Porygon, you might end up finding it in a city biome, which does make sense, but you might also encounter it in a grassland biome. So it's really going to depend on how much you're exploring, and I really do think you should check out every single biome in order to get a whole variety of Pokemon. Now, something very important to keep in mind is that biomes behave very differently from what you would find at Pokemon Go Fest and Pokemon Go Tour, specifically the habitat spawns. Just because a certain biome contains certain kinds of Pokemon, those Pokemon are not going to be limited to that biome. The only exception is of course Wiglet, but if you want to find Magikarp for example, you are not limited to going to biomes where there is a body of water. You could still encounter Magikarp in different biomes that do not involve any water. And as of the time that I'm recording this video, the only Pokemon that are specified to different biomes are Kanto Pokemon, but I do think this is subject to change. As Niantic releases more biomes or they change the behavior of biomes, you're going to see different Pokemon rotated into those biomes. I really do think this is how Niantic set it up, and I do think it's going to be very exciting for the future of Pokemon Go, especially when it comes to in-game events. Now, something else you need to keep in mind is that biomes do not affect nests. Just because the Pokemon within that nest doesn't necessarily match the biome, it doesn't mean that you're going to see less of that Pokemon. For example, yesterday I went to a golf course which happened to be a deerling nest, and it also had a lot of desert biomes, which is kind of ironic because it is a grassy golf course, but I think because of the sand traps, they count it as a desert biome. But it did not affect the amount of deerling spawns in that area. I still saw a plethora of deerling, even though deerling is not a Pokemon you would typically find in the desert. In my opinion, Biomes has been one of the best updates that Pokemon GO has seen in a very long time. I know it got overshadowed by the avatar system updates, but I really do think Biomes was something that Niantic did really well. There's a lot of visual updates that are of course really nice, but there's also a lot of gameplay updates that I feel like Pokemon GO has needed in a very long time. Yes, this does require a lot of exploration for the best experience, but I do think it brought back a lot of the same feelings from when Pokemon GO first released. Ever since they introduced raiding, let's be real here, that's basically what all of the gameplay has been for the past several years. Like, going out and finding Pokemon just lost a lot of its luster. But with the introduction of Biomes, it actually feels like you have to go out and explore in order to catch certain Pokemon. But we do have to address the elephant in the room. The avatar customization system was a huge disaster, and Niantic has a lot of ground to make up. Like, I really dislike this pattern of Niantic having really bad updates every single year, and then doing a lot of really good updates to try to make up for that one bad update. Last year, of course, it was the remote raid pass nerf, and they tried their best to introduce a whole bunch of different aspects of Pokemon GO in order to make up for that blunder, and I feel like this year, they're doing the exact same thing. I think the best course of action for Niantic to do at this point is to retract the avatar update and just focus on a lot of the good stuff that they are doing. The biome thing was really cool, and I wish they did a lot more of that rather than the avatar update. And we do have one more visual update that's on the way, which is of course to the AR system, and I think there's a lot of cool stuff that they could do with that. Like, when it comes to AR, there hasn't been much added into the game in a very long time, and if you've ever played Peridot, you would know that Niantic is capable of doing a lot of really cool stuff. And I'm really looking forward to it. I think the AR system was in need of a lot of different upgrades, and I think they're on the cusp of releasing a lot of really cool stuff with AR. And I think they could add a lot of depth to Pokemon GO's gameplay with AR, but we'll just have to wait and see. I really hope it is met with a lot of positivity, because like I said, the sentiment around Pokemon GO has been extremely negative for the past couple of years, and I think Niantic can do a lot of really cool things to make up a lot of that ground. But it's really going to be up to them. I really hope they knock it out of the park in the next couple of updates, because yeah, Biomes was a really cool thing, and it's a real shame that it was overshadowed by all the negativity that was caused by the avatar customization system. And I really feel like Niantic deserves a lot of credit for Biomes in spite of all of the controversies surrounding the avatar update. I mean, there's still a lot of cool things that they could do with Biomes. Much like with everything else that they've introduced into Pokemon GO over the past couple of years, I feel like Biomes are just in a beta state. There's a lot of things that they could do. They're basically just scratching the surface at this point. Like, they could do a lot of really interesting things like gameplay mechanics, where biomes are going to be a lot more valuable, and it's going to be important what biome you're in. Like, let's say you do raids, and depending on what biome you're in, much like with weather boosts, you can see some bonuses to certain Pokemon based on those biomes. I think there's a lot of cool stuff that they could do, and I really hope they try it out, because yeah, biomes have been really cool, and they've added a lot of depth and flavor to Pokemon GO, but like I said, they're just scratching the surface, and there's a lot of potential with this new mechanic. It's a really good update, and I really feel like Niantic needs to do a lot more things like this in order to regain a lot of positivity from the Pokemon GO community. But in any case, that's going to be it for this video. Now, I would like to know your thoughts regarding biomes down below in the comments. Is there a particular tip regarding biomes that you would like to share with the Pokemon GO community? Make sure you do so in the comments, and let's have a great discussion. And also share your opinions on biomes as well. And thank you so much for making it to this point in the video. If you ended up enjoying it and found it to be insightful and informative, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And also don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. Now I want to give a quick shout out to every single patron on my Patreon. You all make this channel content possible. If you want to support the Jinsula channel, the absolute best way to do so is by becoming a paid Patreon member. If you do so, you get a permanent spot on my in-game Pokemon GO friends list. So if you want to interact with me in some way within Pokemon GO, like with remote raids or the friendship system, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. And if you want to support my channel in a different way that doesn't involve spending money, you can do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula, and I'm on the platforms that you see on screen. Make sure you go over there and give me a follow. Alright, and that's going to be it for this video. I am Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.